nowhere to take your family members. So am I right? You know that you don't go to some hospitals in Lagos. I won't mention their names. Imagine that we understand that, when Barack Obama won the first election, 2008, 2007, something struck the Republicans that we don't have data. And there was this guy that writes, he's an historian, Neil Ferguson, told them blind black, say, you guys, Democrats are ahead on every single data point. They know the Latinos, they know the blacks, they know who votes most, they know who is not voting, and so they have conned the system because they have the data. We don't have the data. And the Republicans have also invested years to be up to date on the data. Imagine that we can have a single data set on each polling unit in this country, public. Screen on the last, it was embarrassing. People called me during the last election, say, Shion, you have to fix this in 2019. How can a professor be coming on paper? And we say in Jagaria talk. And say 7, 8, 1, 2. How can we be doing that? This is, how can we be taking pictures of the president and the vice president looking at the budget, looking for where National Assembly is different from what they submitted? A simple Excel sheet will have fixed that. It's true. We are not. How do we know where power consumption is strong? Do we all need to connect to the grid? Someone that just puts up a light bulb and puts up just a television set and a radio set, does it need the national grid? It's not a solar panel, just one single solar panel, not enough. So why must we compete with the person? Why must we put the person in the same category with Lekki, who has all the lights on, who has all the ACs and the washing machines on? Why should we put them in the same category? Because we are not researching the data. And most importantly, if we're really going to diversify this economy, what we need, in my own perspective, is a data revolution. We need to stop making assumptions. I'm happy with the new Minister of Solid Minerals. He's trying to do a whole lot of work in terms of defining how many citizens, how many solid minerals do we even have in this country. Be a strong mining cadastral office. So we can know. A lot of governors, they go to Abuja, coming for every meeting for bailout. But there's gold in his backyard. There's limestone there. There's almost everything he could do, but he doesn't have the data. He doesn't even have the intelligence to even make use of that data. I say, okay, what I'm going to do? I don't have power over the limestone in my backyard. But what makes me not call for another person and say, okay, let's form a company. Let's do a special purpose vehicle and let's start extracting this limestone. And the profit comes to the state, it comes to you as a private investor. But we don't want to do hard work. The only hard work Nigerians love doing is what? Collecting what? Rent. That's what we do. That's why you see Nigerians, they don't usually these days people don't decide to give companies to their children anymore. What do they give to their children? What? Houses. You become a rent collector. That's all you do all your life. And that is the bane of an economy that cannot grow. And the question has always been that when it comes to data, people get scared. Politicians get scared. Citizens get scared. How are we going to fight corruption without data? In a country called Uruguay, they decided to bring out all the contracts that the states was awarded. And they found that just 20 companies in the whole country was collecting all the contracts. And so they said, this has to stop. So we are going to put it online. Why should you have a small business and government wants to buy a computer and you are not the one supplying it? Why should supply of computers be a private exclusive of some certain people? Why should that be? Why should just few people have access to tender documents because it's pasted on the notice board of the Ministry of XYZ, and maybe they put it in the newspaper? You can't even see that in one tiny corner. Why should that be? If we really want to fight corruption, you democratize data. Everybody sees it. If everybody knew that Dasuki was collecting money as they alleged, we won't be in this lot of mess that we have as a country, because we just favor secrecy. We see governance as a drive for secrecy. And until, see, that's why I believe, until you break the mold of secrecy about public finance, you are not fighting corruption. You are not. All you are doing, like Taiwo, you are fighting corrupt persons. You are not fighting corruption. You need to open up the data. If you are providing service for people, and if it is for the people, then it should be open. The second thing we do again is that we don't even fund our statistics office. Recently, a lot of guys were harassing our statistics office to bring out. It says, guys, we're getting 3 billion naira 5-6 years ago. Now we get 300 million naira. What am I going to do with that? Almost every single data that you find out is paid up by a donor or by an institution. How are we going to survive that? Like I've also made the point again, we have disjointed database. Everybody has his own separate bucket of data. Nobody's aligning this data to ensure that we adequately profile the Nigerian. Then even when you have the data, what happens? It's unresponsive. Nobody's taking action on it. There was a time the UNDP did the data about Nigeria, and they found out that maternal mortality ratio in Nigeria has 5 different figures. In fact, in budgets, we have done analysis that the Accountant General quotes a different figure for oil revenue, the CBN quotes a different figure for oil revenue, NNPC quotes a different figure for oil revenue. So who do you believe? No, it's reality. Who do you believe? Whose report are we going to believe? Even the Bible says, your eye must be what? Pastor Pojo always says this in church. Your eye must be single. And until we get our eye single on the data, we are not moving forward. And that's why I want to just make this point strongly, that a lot of people are building. There's a company called Palantir now. We can Google about it. It's one of the most secretive startups in the world. It's worth $20 billion. And in fact, there's a little bit of secret that it was instrumental to the capture of Osama bin Laden. I don't know how true that is, but it does a whole lot of work for money. They say it's funded by the CIA because it does a whole lot of work on data analytics. We want to fight crime. We want to build intelligence. We don't have the data. And we always worry about how someone is caught in the US, and the next thing his picture is flashing on the screen. They know his address, they interview his mother, they interview his brother. There's a connection in the database. So we need this. And until we get this right, we can't move forward. We need to be able to predict, because we have a backlog of data. We need to be able to give new information to people to help people. We can't help people without data. You say, I want to help somebody, you are not asking the right questions. You want to help the poor people in Nigeria? You want to give them 5,000 naira? How are we sure that 5,000 naira is what they need? And some people will even brag with me and say they want to restore their dignity. I say, wow, with 5,000 naira. And without the data is what we can use to optimize resources. We need to be able to optimize our resources. Look at us. We're at 13% of GDP. 87% of GDP, 40% part of that is agriculture. I think you have an announcement to make. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is our pleasure to invite or to receive His Excellency, the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Professor Yemi Osibajo. Please give him a resounding welcome. The platform welcome. No stranger to the platform, His Excellency. You're welcome.